I was remarking earlier about how dark it is outside.
Oh, yes.
When just a while ago it was bright and lovely and sunny. It's dark at 6 in the morning. Don't know if it's cheering up where you are. Gary has got in touch from Evesham. Hi, Gary. Says, yes, it's dark this morning in Evesham. Venus is shining in the east above the Cotswolds. It's getting cooler and our windows are firmly shut. We've had 2 large spiders in the house and at 5 a.m. this morning we had 3 wasps buzzing around our bedroom. It'll soon be Christmas.
Oh, don't say that, Gary. Mind you, the spiders...
Oh, no, we don't do spiders.
They're really coming in at the minute.
Yes, well, they always do in September.
Oh, it's horrid. I hate it.
September because of that.
But what can you do? Try to catch them and put them back out again. They just come back in again. You can't win. Let's have a look at the newspapers this morning. The Telegraph has pupils isolating for 21 days as cases of measles rise.
In the Mirror, the final betrayal as HS2 has been hit by fresh turmoil after Number 10 has refused to rule out axing the Manchester bit.
And what's the point of it, then? The Express says Suella slams Labour's plans for a dirty deal with the EU over their migrant plan.
And finally, of course you want to know what the Star is saying. A rogue Russian pilot fired 2 missiles at an RAF jet, which could, they say, have sparked World War III. But they still managed to put an alien on the front page as well, don't they?
Well, excellent. It's got to be done.
Got to have an alien on the front page of the Star.
Well, let's have a look at the other stories and people making the headlines this morning. In the papers and online, we're joined by our political commentator, Nigel Nelson, and writer and commentator, Candice Holdsworth. Good to see you both this morning.
Hello.
In terms of that crime, can I ask you, Nigel, to kick off with our crime poll this morning? 65% of people saying zero tolerance to shoplifting, which basically means the police need to investigate. I mean, it's incredible to think that there should be any sort of tolerance towards a crime.
Well, I mean, it's a matter of resources. I mean, they just literally can't deal with everything that's going on. I mean, I think that the bits where the shop owners are absolutely right is when you have a targeted gang going in to do some shoplifting. I saw one in my local Waitrose the other day, and they cause 2 of them start a mock fight. Everyone's distracted. A whole lot of other guys come in and sweep off all the spirits from the booze.
No.
Yeah, just saw it happen. And the whole thing is that the staff are told not to intervene, quite rightly, because it would be dangerous. I wasn't going to intervene either. But there was no sign of the police at all. Police had been called. They certainly hadn't come by... 15 minutes later, when I'd finished at my shop.
I presume it was all over 15 minutes later. Anyway.
The whole thing was done in a flash.
Yeah.
It was obviously all orchestrated, but they would have got away with hundreds of pounds, maybe even thousands, with the amount that they took.
Did they put it in a trolley and wheel it out?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and put them in bags and things like that. But only went for the high cost items, like sort of spirits and so on.
You see, how do you police that without having police literally there?
Well, that's the other alternative. So what the supermarkets are talking about are things like, let's give police free coffee, and so they'll be on site. Yes, they'll be on site.
But that's like bribery. Bribe the police to be there.
I have to say, it was a bit of an odd way of doing things, but the argument is that if you've got them in the shop, people won't go around and do things like that.
The problem is you're going to end up with, like in the States, where you have security guards armed security in some stores.
That's what I think. The user experience in the shop is going to be ruined, and I've noticed that walking into some shops. There are security guards in there who are hyper-vigilant. I mean, they really check you out when you come in, and you feel watched, and you just think these people are ruining it for everybody. And that's what happens, though, when a system sort of breaks down, and then there's a big overcorrection, and suddenly it just feels a bit punitive. It doesn't feel pleasurable anymore.
Yeah, that's it. That's the issue. I really don't know how you start to tackle it, or how you tackle it quickly. Anyway,
it's resources, isn't it?
Well, it is really, yeah. Nigel, in the Express this morning, Labour's EU migrant plan, which sort of sounds very good on one hand, and then they sort of ruin it on the other.
Well, I think it's the Tories who try to ruin it, because coming out with these extraordinary figures, which are just simply not true. So what the Tories are arguing is that Keir Starmer has said, if we get a returns agreement with Europe, there will have to be some sort of quid pro quo. I mean, this will be a deal. It means we have to offer them something if they're going to offer us something, like any...
So let more people in?
Well, this is the Tories now have harped on this 100,000 figure, and yes, if you took the population of Britain at and the number of migrants coming into Europe, 966,000 over the last year, and we took 12.5% of that, that would come to about 100,000 people we would have to take in return for our asylum seekers. But that's not going to happen. We won't be taking any EU quotas on the basis that we're not in the EU.
Yeah, but they could strike a separate deal.
Well, if you strike a separate deal, can you imagine a deal that any Prime Minister would strike? Say we've had, 23,000 migrants across the Channel so far this year. We send all those back to Europe, and they agree to take them, and we then agree to take 100,000 of their migrants. No Prime Minister is going to strike a deal like that, which is why the whole thing is so absurd.
What do you reckon, Candy?
No, it won't fly. I think people will really hate this. I mean, it's before an election. This is something that the Conservatives can really leap on and use. What is interesting, though, is in Labour's plan, they've said that they want to tackle the trafficking gangs directly. But the National Crime Agency has come out and said that's actually going to be really tricky. You need legal incentives and disincentives as well because of the way that the trafficking gangs operate. They're very fragmented, very loosely organised. So that's actually going to be quite tricky. I mean, this is a really intractable problem. It's very, very, very difficult. I mean, Rishi Sunak has tried to go down the legal route and has really struggled. If Keir Starmer goes down this route of tackling the gangs, he's also going to face problems. I mean, this is something that politicians really need to grip, but I don't think there's any easy solutions.
See, Archie's been in touch, Nigel, and sort of on the issue you were raising. He said you can be sure the EU would do us no favours, and the people we'd be forced to deport would no way be anywhere near the number we'd be forced to take.
Well, we wouldn't be forced to take anyone because it would be an agreement. It would be a deal. So if we ended up with a bad deal, then there would be no deal. So it's just this idea that somehow we would have to start taking European quotas is nonsense. I mean, there are certain benefits, for instance. I mean, if you were taking asylum seekers who've been processed in the EU, whatever number, a small number, say, who come over here, they wouldn't need to go to hotels. They've already been processed. Their asylum claims have gone through.
They would be legal migrants.
They would be legal migrants and be able to get a job over here. So you would avoid that hotel kind of thing for them.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, Nigel. I mean, you know, I've been in this business a long time.
You said you have.
Longer than I can anything. I'm not convinced. When you say, well, it wouldn't make a bad deal, that doesn't convince me. And the problem is, it's not going to convince your average voter.
Well, that's what the Tories are doing. That's why they've come out with this extraordinary 100,000 figure. But can you see us sending just a few of the cross-channel migrants over to Europe and we then import 100,000? It just seems to me such nonsense.
I can see it if there was the argument of saying, well, we've stopped illegal migration.
Yes.
Which they would have done. It's just they're all coming in suddenly they're called legal migrants.
Stephen, you're right. There would be outrage if suddenly it turned out we were taking 100,000 people in who we hadn't previously.
But surely we'd still have the problem of people getting in small boats and trying it on their own.
That's right. So this was a two-tier thing. So what in fact Keir Starmer was doing in The Hague is trying to find a way of actually stopping the small boats. So this was, if you like...
I don't see how this would.
Well, this wouldn't necessarily do it, but what he's trying to do is get us back onto the European databases that we lost through Brexit. So an example would be to work with Europol. One of the databases is called the Schengen Information System 2, but what it actually does is it monitors terrorists and smuggling gangs. If we had access to that, we would be able to do more to disrupt the smuggling gangs. So that in itself might help stop the boats.
Well, I think Keir Starmer wants more cooperation with the EU. I just think many on the Tory right are going to use this as an election issue to oppose it and say he wants closer and closer relations with the EU. This is the path to doing it. I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but I just think that's what's happening.
But a lot of people who voted Brexit are going to be very upset about that.
Yes.
They're going to see it as a sneaky way of trying to reverse Brexit.
Well, that's the other problem, and I think that is also a myth that Brexit's done. There's no way we're going back.
Yeah. OK. Look, we're going to leave it there just for the time being.